up, guys? No way. That could be video. I don't have any rights to this video at all. Just I hope y'all enjoy it very much. I just wanted to get this out to people.
185 miles per hour. This was enough to uproot trees, flip cars, and tear roofs off houses.
We rewind that.
The East Coast is in a declared state of emergency because of Hurricane Florence, which is on a fast track to North Carolina and headed directly for Epic Games offices. If Epic Games doesn't do a good job preparing for this catastrophe, Fortnite servers could go offline for months. In today's video, we're going to discuss why it's extremely likely that Fortnite servers are going down for an extended period of time. Hurricane Florence is shaping up to be devastating, especially to East Coast states such as Georgia, the Carolinas, and Virginia. For this video though, we're going to mainly focus on the effects the storm will have on North Carolina, because that's where Epic Games HQ is located. And North Carolina is only a couple feet above sea level, which is extremely dangerous because it makes the state prone to flash flooding. I live on the East Coast myself, and I've seen what storms like this can do. So to kick off this video, I'm going to go into detail on what sort of damage this hurricane is capable of, so you guys can get an idea of what might happen to Fortnite and Epic Games in general. The first thing that Epic is going to have to prepare for when Florence initially hits is going to be the storm surge. A storm surge is the first phase of a hurricane and occurs when a hurricane reaches the coastline. What happens is it pushes the ocean along the beach further inland, sometimes even miles inland. The flooding that can result from a storm surge is also way more dangerous than the flooding that will be experienced more inland. Due to high wind speeds, the water can become lethal. In some cases, entire houses can be destroyed by storm surge waters, cars can be carried multiple miles, and if people get caught in the middle of it, the chances of survival are really slim. Depending on how close Epic Games offices are to the coast of North Carolina, the damages could be catastrophic. As you get a little further inland, the effects of the hurricane will become less devastating. However, just because you're a bit further in the coast doesn't mean that you're home free. Hurricanes the size of Florence have the potential to cause massive floods hundreds of miles inland. In the past, storms similar to Florence, such as Hurricane Floyd, were reported to have caused flooding hundreds of miles inland and down the East Coast. I'm not talking about a couple inches of standing water in the street. I mean there was 8 to 16 inches of standing water everywhere, hundreds of miles from the ocean. Houses were totally waterlogged and rotted from the foundation up. Power lines got knocked down into giant pools of water, and people get trapped on rooftops for days with no clean water or proper food. Though this level of flooding may not be as harmful as storm surge, it's still catastrophic and has the potential to put normal life on hold for weeks. If flooding like this occurs in Carolinas, Epic Games and Fortnite are going to be out of commission for a while. On top of the flooding and the storm surge, there's also extremely high winds. Some of the strongest hurricanes to hit the United States are clocked with speeds anywhere between 170 to 190 miles per hour. Just last year, the East Coast got hit hard by Hurricane Irma, which was the second most powerful hurricane to hit the United States in terms of wind speed. Irma was reported to have wind speeds of 185 miles per hour. This was enough to uproot trees, flip cars, and tear roofs off houses. High wind speeds also cause other life-threatening hazards, such as flying debris. During hurricanes, it's very common for shrapnel and other sorts of debris to fly through the air at high speeds. Oftentimes, pieces of wood and metal can be found sticking out of trees and other structures after the hurricane subsides. If a person were to get struck by anything flying through the air at 185 miles per hour, their chances of survival are really slim. On top of all these hazards that come along when experiencing a hurricane, there's also the potential for tornadoes to form once the hurricane hits the coast. So not only does Epic Games have to worry about a massive flooding and high wind speeds, they also have to make sure they have a safe place to take shelter in case the tornado forms. Tornadoes move fast and can cause massive devastation in a matter of minutes. So the question is, how are they preparing for all this, and what are their plans to keep the Fortnite servers up and running during the storm of this magnitude? Luckily, Epic Games is a very transparent company and likes to keep their player base informed with everything that has to do with Fortnite. They've released a statement on Reddit addressing the issues they could be experiencing with the hurricane, and it reads, "Hi everyone. As a reminder, this weekend, Hurricane Florence is expected to hit Cary, North Carolina, the location of Epic Games' office at the beginning of today. Please keep this in mind if there are any potential server issues or in-game issues. Epic Games has been great with communication, so we hope they will keep us updated to the best of their abilities should anything happen. Any posts between Friday and Sunday pertaining to server issues, in-game lag type issues will be removed, especially those complaining about it. It's important that everyone stays safe. Should any major in-game issues arise, we will create a mega thread. Thanks. Everyone taking storm damage, stay safe. So they did acknowledge that there are going to be server issues with Fortnite, but I think they're downplaying it. You can tell they're preparing for the worst case scenario, since they threatened to remove any threads related to game issues. They know the Fortnite servers will be affected by this, but their main concern is the safety of their staff and the people up and down the East Coast, which is respectable. So what sort of issues could Fortnite and Epic Games experience beyond just lag and matchmaking issues? The first issue that's going to arise is going to be a lack of customer support. With the high wind speeds and likeliness of flash flooding, power outages, and down cell phone towers and broken telephone lines, there's no way they'll be able to provide any customer support. If their building has a couple of backup generators, then they may be able to maintain power, but without internet and phone service, they won't be able to communicate with anyone from their offices, and Fortnite will go offline. Obviously, if the staff leaves or goes somewhere with internet, they will be able to get online, go on Reddit, and address the community concerns. In fact, they probably already have their public relations department somewhere safe where they can monitor the Reddit right now as we speak. But there's going to be no direct way to call Epic offices, meaning Reddit and Twitter will be the only way of getting any customer support services while the phone lines are being repaired. It's also extremely likely that Fortnite servers will go offline altogether. I honestly can't see the internet services being maintained throughout Hurricane Florence. There's just so much potential for damage. There's going to be 180 plus mile-an-hour wind speeds, inches and probably feet of standing water that could even have a current, debris everywhere, drowned power lines, and telephone lines. There's just no way that Epic Games facilities are going to be able to maintain stable internet connection throughout this ordeal. At the very least, it's looking like Fortnite will be going down for a couple of days, but later in the video we will go into more detail of how long we could be looking at the servers being down for. And to put it in perspective, days is lucky, like we could be looking at weeks or months, but like I said, we'll get into that a little bit later. Right now I want to talk about what Epic could be doing at their headquarters right now